you everyone for being here today. I think overall and I know we always say this, it's a great day to be a Bison. And so not just for our program, but for softball and men's basketball and all the other sports that have the ability to have kind of the future of Bison athletics now signing today. So I think it's a great day for all of us. But I'm here to talk about a few of our kids, and we have 3 coming in this next year who are going to be, to be honest, awesome additions to what it is that we're trying to do with our program. It was tough. I would say their recruiting process, as I'm sure every sport, bringing in a 22 class was difficult. Handling COVID and trying to watch kids and seeing them on and off the court and how they interact and how they're getting better, kind of the intangibles side of things. I think we were able to see some physical skill, but it's all those other pieces that you hope just kind of work out. And just with the sport of volleyball and how early we do recruit and we are evaluating and we are watching them through their process, there was a lot of time that went by that was missed. But I would say with the 3 that we're bringing in, we definitely did our due diligence and making sure that we went about it the right way with them. All 3 individuals, to be honest, went through their recruiting process on their own. And they really had to make sure that they were getting to schools and going through visits, which typically we're able to do as a staff, and making a lot of in-person connections, which is extremely important for us. And I know Dave talked about that too, getting to know families and individuals. But every single one of them through the COVID process, while they're coming on campus and going through admissions tours, not being able to meet coaches, not being able to meet players or staff or see facilities and all those things, they made a decision to come here and wanted to come here because that's what NDSU is. And once you get to campus and experience all those things, it's definitely a special place. And so for these 3, I know their process was extremely different, but I'm also extremely excited about the additions that we're going to have. Our first one is Nora Raasch, and she's coming from Mequon, Wisconsin. She's going to add to our defensive specialist position. She has a lot of energy. She's pretty fiery. She's paying attention to details, and so what she's going to add to our defensive line and serve receive and in the backcourt, a lot for her to learn, but she has a lot of room to grow, and that's what we're really happy to kind of see her through this process. Our next one coming out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, is Baily Plourde. She has a lot of size and is going to add a lot of depth to our pin position. Which I know in the past years has been pretty thin, but as we've kind of been able to add our recruiting classes, we're definitely adding a lot more height and athleticism. She's going to be a little bit of a developmental player, but then again, who isn't coming into college? She works extremely hard. Her work ethic, her determination, and just her experience is going to add a lot to what it is that we're trying to do with this class. And so we're really, really happy to add both her and her family to our program this coming year. And then our last one is Allie Barth, who comes from an extremely athletic backgrounded family. Both her parents were college athletes, as well as her siblings who are current college athletes. She's a multi-sport kid, which we definitely do try to look at when we're recruiting and going through the process with kids, is what other sports do they play? How are they a little bit more well-rounded? How are other sports going to transfer over into their volleyball skills and help them on the court? Whether that's them playing softball or basketball or running track. There's a lot of things that we see from the volleyball side that allows them to be better volleyball players. And Allie's definitely going to be one of them, coming in as a middle. And so, for us, bringing in 3 kids, it is a little bit of a smaller class. Fortunate through the COVID process and just how our recruiting years were turned out, it didn't need to be a big class for us. But still, at the end of the day, 3 great additions to what it is that we're trying to do and how we continue to build our program. I guess I should say, before I ask any questions, huge thanks to my staff, both Kelly and Drew, and, a lot of computer time trying to watch some and stream some matches through the kids through their off season and their club season and high school season, which, definitely wasn't easy for us to kind of piece together and map together what it is that we needed to watch, but a lot of efforts that they did going into bringing these kids here and the relationships that they built with each one of our incoming 22s is pretty special. And then also our support staff too, between our marketing and compliance and video and just their overall dedication to our program and what it is that we're trying to do. So huge thanks to them and what they do every single day. And we ask them random questions and how quick they are to help us and make sure that our recruits and their experience is special too. So thank you guys. But I guess at this time, any questions that you guys have for me?
See these three helping kind of just shape the program and the direction that you have for it. What role are they going to be able to play in that future?
All three of these kids are extremely competitive, and we still, at the end of the day, we're a young team, and we still have a lot of young players that are having to come in right away and be ready to play and be prepared, and they're being put into situations where, whether they have the experience or not, they're kind of being looked upon to execute and do some things at a really high level. All three of these kids are going to add a lot. And it comes down to depth. You never know what injuries are going to happen or what situations you're going to be in. But for us to develop that depth in the middle and on the pin and in the back row, we've seen is extremely necessary, especially through this COVID process. We have a roster of 17, but on any given day, you never know who's unable to go for that day or what changes that you need to make. And so for us to be able to bring in some kids who do have a healthy background and competitiveness is extremely important for us, but it's going to also add a lot of strength to what we're doing.
Years into this now, this year should have been, I don't know that recruiting ever gets comfortable. I feel like it's always kind of this changing wheel for you guys. But you should have been able to feel maybe a little bit comfortable this year with your years of experience as the head coach now, and you had this extra wrinkle thrown in. How has it kind of made you stronger, you think, and how does it kind of change recruiting and the game going forward for you?
It definitely has, and I think Dave touched on that with the sport of men's basketball and how it changes recruiting. Volleyball is definitely the same way with transfers and JUCOs and the ability for older kids to find other situations or other opportunities, whether it's at your school or not. And, we've been fortunate enough where we brought some transfers in. We haven't had too many leave due to that process. But it's also, just keeps in the back of your head what it is that we're trying to do with our program. And, a big part of us is still, finding that ground for that level of success that we know every program here at NDSU can have. And we're definitely a part of that. COVID, definitely didn't help, but it is what it is. Every school, every program went through that. And so for us to be able to get some quality kids in here who have great families, great work ethic, great commitment to the process is extremely important for us. And we know that out of these three, that's what we're getting. And it's definitely something that we're looking for with whoever it is that we are going through that recruiting process with.